We're going to be doing something that we don't normally do on this channel, and that is talk Primarchs, because I keep getting one big question, and that is, when is Leman Russ coming, Valrak? Is he going to be dropping at the end of the edition like a big surprise that we got with Lionel Johnson? I want to discuss that. I want to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about the other Primarchs as well and their potential involvement going into 11th edition and potential releases for them as well. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. Now, just before we jump into the meat and bones, I just want to say, since this video will contain some rumours, please be aware that rumours are rumours. They're all lies. Don't believe them until GW post it, confirm it over on their socials. Take rumours for what they are. Rumours, not facts. So let's start with a big question that is constantly asked on this channel, and it's all about Leman Russ. Now, for those of you who have followed me for a long time, when Lionel Johnson was announced and we got the big trailer, it was a fantastic time during the end of 9th edition. I did a video literally the next day, and my prediction was that Leman Russ would be the next Primarch returning. The reason I did that prediction is because I was hearing rumours about the Space Wolf refresh. I heard they were going to get a bunch of new character redesigns, a bunch of stuff happening, and that did happen with the rumours. The Space Wolves got probably one of the best refreshes we ever seen with a Space Marine refresh, but there was no Leman Russ a part of that. What it looks like Games Workshop have done, this edition anyway, is that they basically made Logan Grimnar the main big guy of that range refresh. Even the model is absolutely massive when you can compare it to like Gilliman and stuff like that. If you put him next to him, it's an absolutely incredible bloody model. But there was no Leman Russ at all. And I personally think now they're not going to be bringing Leman Russ back for a long, long time. The reason I think that is because we've just had that range refresh, and I don't see it happening towards the end of this narrative. The rumors that I'm hearing about this end narrative is not really going to be like a kind of story-focused narrative where it all connects like the Arcs of Omens like we got with 9th edition. I'm hearing it's going to be like separate type of stories where it focuses on people like Huron Blackheart and what he's been doing, Prince Yril and what he's been doing, etc., etc., like that type of focus on the narrative. Again, they're only rumours, so take for rumours for what they are. But the more I've been hearing from the whispers, the more I'm hearing that potentially, or basically Leman Russ is not going to be coming back towards the end of this edition. 11th edition, maybe. We'll talk about that in just a second. But 10th edition, the end narrative, I'm sorry, chaps, I'm not hearing anything about that. I know some people are thinking there's going to be like a big Christmas reveal, like rah, Leman Russ, like popping out the ground on Fenris and stuff like that, which I think would be incredible. Don't get me wrong. I would love to get a new Leman Russ model, like an Odin type of, you know, old school, like he's aged and he's more wiser type of Leman Russ rather than his young, just reckless Leman Russ. But I just don't see that happening this edition, sadly. And the big question off the back of this then is, well, what's next for the Primarchs? Is there going to be more new Primarchs returning, or I should say more new Primarch models returning to the Warhammer 40,000 setting? And that answer is yes. There is going to be more Primarchs returning to the setting. What people don't understand is that Primarchs as a whole, as a business product from Games Workshop, are one of their best selling products to like army painters, just for people who collect them, just for people who just enjoy the lore. Not always people who put them in their armies and game with them. They're just all-round amazing selling models. So Games Workshop see this as a great business opportunity, and they've got to keep bringing them back, shoehorning them into the story, and they're just going to appear. Now, from what I have been hearing through the whispers, is that there is going to be more demonic Primarchs returning first before another Loyalist Primarch. And there's a reason for that, which I'm going to explain in a second. And the demon Primarchs, of course, are either going to be Lorgar or Perturabo. They have started to add the foundations in for the story now to bring either of these demonic Primarchs back. If I was a betting person, and again, this is just pure speculation, I would say Perturabo as the next returning Primarch, because he's been name dropped the most. And because Vashdor's come into the setting and he's a new big character now and he's worked with Primarchs before, there's rumours that there's a new Iron Warrior upgrade sprue that's potentially coming. The breadcrumbs for me are leading towards Primarchs over Lorgar. I wouldn't be surprised if Lorgar came first, not one bit surprised, but I'm just putting all my money on Primarchs at this point. Again, that is just pure speculation, just pure theory on my behalf. And then that leads on to the next question. Well, if more demonic Primarchs are returning, when they eventually do bring back a Loyalist Primarch, who's it got to be? Well, first things first, what we need to happen is the Lion and Guilliman to meet. We've still got these two Loyalist Primarchs in the setting right now that haven't met. And I personally think Games Workshop are missing out on an absolute massive narrative, lore, story, book, novel, whatever you want to call it, event, which would sell like hotcakes. Talk to any Space Marine fanboy like myself. What we want to happen is Guilliman and the Lion meeting. We know the Lion knows that Guilliman is alive and is leading the Imperium, but we've never heard about Guilliman learning about the Lion being alive, even though other Space Marine chapters, other people have heard about. The Space Wolves have heard about the Lion's return. Of course, Dante knows about it. He fought with him in the Acts of Omen story, but Guilliman hasn't heard about this narrative yet, and this is what we want. This is what we want to taste in our glorious Space Marine glands. We want these two Primarchs, these two brothers, to meet, and that bondship, that friendship, that brotherly love then to like, brother, you are alive. I am not alone. This is what we won. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So when another Loyalist Primarch does return, after Guilliman and the Lion have met up, then who is that Primarch? Well, again, I don't think it's going to be Leman Russ. I'm actually sitting here thinking now, I think it's going to be like one of the background Primarchs. When I say background Primarchs, that is kind of a disservice to them, but I'm talking about Primarchs like Jagatai Khan, Vulcan, or Korax. I think these Primarchs are in the big position now to return. Let's look at it, right? Vulcan can't die. He's a perpetual. You can stab him with a spork, you can burn him alive, you can literally dump him in space, in the atmosphere, he could come down on the planet like looking like a rusty toenail, okay? He's always got to come back. Yes, he disappeared on Armageddon, which is going to be the big video tomorrow. Don't miss the Armageddon video, right? So potentially, he could return next edition with that setting and whatever goes on there. So he's definitely in contention to come back into the setting. You've got Jagatai Khan, right, who disappeared into the webway, and there's been massive rumours, massive indications about Games Workshop, of course, bringing the Dark City into the new narrative. Is that going to be hints of Jagatai Khan coming back into the setting? I think that would be absolutely incredible as well. And of course, Korax, we all know he's alive because he's been hunting Lorgar in the warp. He's turning into like Shadow Batman, you know, smelling Lorgar out, hunting his sons down and stuff like that. There's so many stories that could bring these Primarchs back. And if they did bring Lorgar back, then that would be a sign truly for Korax to come back, because Korax is hunting Lorgar. So there's so many stories here that can mix together, that could really bring new narrative stories into Warhammer 40,000, which could bring these Primarchs back. Of course, then you have Primarchs like Rogel Dawn, who's not dead, I swear, on the Emperor's throne, right? There's no body, it means no death, okay? That is Hollywood as we know it. So he could be somewhere, and they potentially could bring him back some way. I've always said he's been held prisoner by Alfarius to watch the Imperium crumble. I think that's a great storyline. He's locked away. He can't do anything to stop it. The true way to torture Rogel Dawn is to bring his father's dream down in front of him, and he's powerless to stop it. But that's my fan theory on that one. But there is something else which we've talked about so many times on the channel. What if it isn't a Loyalist Primarch? What if it's something just as powerful, maybe even more powerful? And that is the King in Yellow, right? There's so many hints, there's so many theories that potentially the King in Yellow is Valdor. And Valdor apparently has been building an army of blanks. He's got Space Marines on his side. He's even got Custodes on his side. He's doing something. What if that is the next big power move, the next big power play for the designers, the writers to bring back? And that potentially could be a new faction, and that could be someone who's outside of the ring of the like Primarchs, but just as powerful to step up to a Primarch. Because that's something that we don't really have. Well, I say we don't really have. We do have it in the setting, but Primarchs are like these beings of like demigods. Like when they go on the battlefield, you know a Primarch is absolutely going to have his day, and there's not that much that can really stand up to a Primarch. So maybe if they bring in another faction with someone who has the power to stand up to a Primarch, maybe this could be on the cards. But yeah, I'm literally going down the foil hole with that one. All I wanted to say in this video, all I wanted to talk about is that there is going to be more returning Primarchs to the setting. Definitely in 11th edition. Towards the end of this edition, I haven't heard anything. But then again, just because I haven't heard something doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I am not the rumor messiah. I keep telling this to everyone. Just because I haven't heard something doesn't mean it's not bloody happening. So it could happen. I'm just saying I haven't heard it, and I don't think it's going to be Leman Russ. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching as always. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, like what Primarch would you like to return next and why? Right? Do you want it to be a loyalist? Do you want it to be a traitor? Which one would make the most sense to you? I'm sure there's people like, no more Primarchs, Valrak. We don't want any more Primarchs. I completely understand. But that ship has sailed, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about one thing. And that is the money, money, money. The shareholders, they want their skulls for the skull throne. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching as always. See you in a bit. Have a great day, evening, night, where you're around the world. And bye-bye.